quick overview. I've already done the installation. Frankly, I didn't think about videoing any of it while I was doing it, but I installed an aftermarket aluminum radiator with electric fans. This is a 72 F-100 with 390 motor in it. I got an Edelbrock 1407 carburetor, K&N, standard intake on that thing. But it's got dual cooling fans and aluminum radiator. It's a 3-core. Seems to be working alright so far. This truck had the super cooler radiator in it, and frankly the fan shroud broke on it and the radiator was leaking. And so if I was to find a fan shroud, I think it was going to be around $150, but I couldn't find one for that super cool radiator. So I just got to looking and found this. The radiator and the fans came in a package. It's all aluminum. I think these fans are 2500 CFM or something to that effect. And it's supposed to be a direct fit, and it pretty well went in alright. I had to do a little bit of modification, just kind of walder a couple holes out, see how I have it mounted in there. And I'm eventually thinking of coming in here and putting some spacers back in to move it, because it's a little close to the motor, and sometimes sitting around idling it doesn't stay as cool as I'd like it to. So I'll update on that if I end up doing that, see if there's any different results. But so far otherwise it's been real good. Something I would highly recommend, especially for this older truck that's not made for all the electrical load, is I pronounce it derail, but I don't know if there's like a proper way to pronounce it. But I got the derail controller, and it's the PWM, and it actually reads, you can see the probe down there, and it's just sticking through the radiator cores, and it runs a sensor wire over to this controller, and it has a soft start on those fans, so when they turn on real slow and easy. And it actually controls temperature on the outlet side of the radiator. So if it's cold outside and your truck doesn't need the fans running, then they don't run at all, they're just off. But as soon as it hits the temperature, and you can adjust the temperature setting, you can either do it with a multimeter or you can just do it by turns of a screw. There's approximate temperature adjustment by turns of the screw inside the unit. So I would highly recommend, whatever fan setup you use, get one of these controllers, because it is the cat's meow. And it was about $160 for that thing all by itself, but I don't regret it a bit. It has been absolutely amazing. And they send you all of the appropriate wiring, all this wiring. Now these connectors I bought, but all this wiring, they give you a 50 amp breaker, all the ring terminals to hook it to the battery, all the ground wire, the positive wire, they give you ample of that to do it adequate. They even give you zip ties, and I was real impressed with everything that came in the package. It truly was a complete package. Now something I will mention is I did add a relay. I found a 50 amp relay. Since this is a 50 amp breaker, found a 50 amp relay and hooked it up. I actually just hooked it up just now. I've been running without it, and the only thing is, when it's hot and you shut the truck off and walk away from it, the fans will sit there and run. And there was even a couple of times when I was around the truck after I'd shut it off, they'd actually kick on and off several times, and it wasn't nothing real bad, but it's just extra drain on the battery that's not necessary. So I hooked up a relay to the ignition switch, and so that way they'll just turn off when I shut the motor off, and that's the end of it. And I also installed an electric fuel pump. I got the block plate there. I've had 2 or 3 mechanical pumps failed on me in the past 3 years, so I've decided I'm done with them. Unless I buy like $150 Edelbrock or something that may be better, I'm not sure. But what I did was, as with the, I put a relay in right here on the, right here, because I had this, is actually a spare wire coming out. Didn't even have anything connected to it. It just had those old round connectors that these old critters had a female there, but I didn't have a round one to plug into it. I wish I'd have been more patient and just done that. But anyway, so this is the ignition wire coming out of the firewall. It's basically a customer service wire, and now I have this wire running back over to my relay for my fans to trigger that relay, but then the other one is going back here to trigger my relay for my fuel pump. And this is my wire coming from my battery to feed the relay. And there's these old breakers installed from, one of these runs to the back of the truck. I just mean to rip that thing off. I don't really want it. It was on it when I got it. But this other one's for the aftermarket air conditioner installed and all that. But I just tied onto it, and I used an old school glass tube fuse because that's what the rest of the truck has on it. So I just thought I would keep in kind and takes a 10 amp fuse, and I have all the spares in my glove box. So if my fuse ever blows, then I got a spare to put in it, and hopefully it's nothing major, leave me walking. But obviously there are advantages and disadvantages to all that. But anyway, and I mounted the pump underneath the truck where I've actually got a fuel selector on this thing. So I put the filter in between the outlet line of the tank selector to where it goes and feeds the fuel pump. And it's just one of them little Airtex pumps, 5 to 9 pound. I actually probably kind of need to put a regulator on the downstream side because it's an Edelbrock and they only want 6.5 pounds, but haven't noticed any major issues yet. I ran a Edelbrock 750 on a stock 350 Chevrolet, and those have about 8 or 9 pounds of fuel pressure with the mechanical pump, and I never even crossed my mind the whole time I had it. So anyway, just wanted to show y'all real quick, post another video. A little different truck, but I hope y'all enjoyed, and feel free to comment, have any questions or anything. Hope y'all liked it. I just like sharing this stuff. I get a kick out of doing this stuff, so I hope I might be some benefit to somebody else. Thanks.